C++ namespace. Namespace is a C++ tool which has a name and scope. I will be using this editor to explain it further. I have a main function and I use stream library inclusion. First, let me talk what is a scope. As I told you, namespace has a name and scope. First, what is a scope? Scope is you can see this as a space in the code which is actually enclosed by the delimiter like this. It could be, if it is within the function like this, it is called block scope. You can have statements, quotes inside the scope. If it is after the function, now this entire space is also called a scope. This is called function scope, and you can have the scope even outside the function. So this is what we call a scope, and whatever you define inside the scope or declare inside the scope, this is accessible within this scope. I can have a variable defined in this scope and I can use it to display the value. But if I try to access this variable outside the scope, I will not be able to do that, right? So x scope of x starts from this point when it is defined, and it exists until this closing curly brace. Similarly, if you define something in the function scope, the scope will start, the scope of the variable will start at that point, and it will continue, it will remain till the end of this curly brace. Now, sometimes, for example, if I create a scope in this place, and I have int x, int, let me have function, and I can give a name to this scope, right? So if I give name to this scope, then that will make it a namespace. And the syntax for giving name to this name scope is we want to use the keyword called namespace, and we give the name my scope 1. Now this is the definition of namespace. You have a keyword, name of the namespace, and the name of the scope, and the curly braces, this scope inside it. And this thing that whichever we have placed inside this curly brace, either x or foo, they are not accessible outside this scope. For example, like in this case, we didn't have x is not accessible, it is already complaining in this scope. Therefore, similarly, we cannot directly access this x and foo in the main function. Let me just remove this part of this code. So if I try to access x, I'm not allowed to use that because I don't have access to the variable that has whose scope is actually limited by this namespace. Therefore, if I want to use it, I need to put a prefix which is the name of the namespace, and followed by this 2 columns, which is called a scope resolution operator. Okay, in this case, this is called scope resolution operator. So this is the syntax for using things that are inside the namespace. If I want to call this foo function, then I would do same. Ideally, I would call the function like this. I hope you are familiar with this. But if I want to call the function that is within the scope, then I need to put this prefix to access that function. So this will actually let me use these variables x and foo, but we have not initialized, so we cannot use it. Before I can use it, I may want to initialize it to some value 56. So now let me jump to the terminal, try to run this code. This code is written in the file called main.cpp, and I want to actually give output file main.exe and the compiler 23, and let me put out all the warnings, and the compiler G++. This will actually compile. Now I have a main.exe file created, and I want to run main.exe. Now you can see 56 and foo is displayed. Foo was displayed by calling through the invocation of the function, and 56 was displayed. This was the value carried by variable x, so it was displayed from there. So now we're able to access the things inside this namespace. So this is not a block scope. If we say block scope, it is something like this. It would be something like this. It does not have a name, and this is not a function scope. This is a namespace scope itself. Now, namespace is not a class. Sometimes there is a confusion of whether namespace is a class or not, because sometimes it looks the definition looks similar. In the case of class, if I want to define a class or struct, then I would have keyword struct and name, and then this brace, right? So I would define, and the definition looks kind of similar, and sometimes when people are learning C++ in the early stage, it may be confusing, but this is not the struct. Struct or class is a type, but namespace is not a type. It is just a scope with a name given to it. And when the namespace is more useful, that we need to understand about that. Large size software solutions have several program components. When your software, the size of the software grows, or you develop a software to be used in a big organization, then you develop the software as a combination of different components. So multiple program components may lead to naming conflict, because there could be one name used in one component and same name may be used in another component. For example, if you want to develop college software, then it is possible that you may develop you may have a classroom component in it. You may also have a dormitory component in it. And in the classroom component, the name sheet may be used to refer to a paper sheet, piece of paper. And in the dormitory, the sheet word, same word, may be used to refer to bed sheet. Similarly, in classroom, the word cook can be used to refer to a function which implements the instruction for converting a code into executable file. Cook is a word that is used to refer to this process. And in the dormitory, cook word may be used to refer to a function or the set of steps that are required to convert grocery items into food. If we combine this two components in a single software, college software, then a user of this both classroom and dormitory component may be using sit, uh, or maybe using cook function of these components. But in that case, it could be ambiguity, naming conflict can arise. So namespace can help to avoid the naming conflicts. Again, switching back to the terminal. Sorry, this is a editor. So now let me create the classroom namespace. I can create a classroom namespace using this, following this process. So namespace keyword followed by the name of the classroom, and in the classroom I can have, let me keep this variable the way it is, and I can have number of sheets, right? So to give to the students to make a drawing, something like that. I have this array, and here I want to categorize the sheets as a blank sheet, tracing sheet, line sheet. These are paper sheets, and I can have a function cook. Purpose is to convert so this the steps in this was what is showing the error. Yeah, I think I missed to put place semicolon. Always remember all the statements in C++ they end with semicolon. If you forget this, that will be a syntactic error. So never forget this. Now let me put some things inside. First step would be write a code like I'm doing here. A second step would be pre-process. This is one of the steps that takes place when you compile this code or make it executable. And third step would be compile. This is a proper compile. So pre-processing is also part of compilation, but this is the core compilation process. Then next step is link. You need to link after you compile this code. You need to link the library iostream, for example, to be used by that compiled version of the code. So you need to link the libraries into it, and you create executable. Right, these are the steps that are actually involved in cooking a code into executable. And I can have another namespace called dormitory, where I can have variable x of different type. I can have sits, but in this case the sit means the bed sheets. It could be single, sit for single bedroom. It could be sit for double. Single beds, double bed, queen, and king size. I think there is a spelling mistake here. DOUBLA. Now Now cook process, in this case I mean if you have cooked the food in your life, so you know the process. First start with raw food and then to cut into pieces, and 3 heat up the oil if you are making curries in a pan. Put the pieces into the heated oil and stir it. 5. Put some water into it and let it boil. Then check if it is cooked and power off the oven. So these are the steps that are involved in cooking uh, curry. So now we have classroom with the same names and dormitory in same names, and if I want to use let's say X, then there could be issue again. So it will not allow, and we will need to resolve the scope. And for example, if I want to print classroom X, then I need to have name of the namespace, and also if I want to uh, use access the seats in the classroom, then I could use classroom namespace. Let me have S1 for sheet 1, X, and then 0. Right, this is the first this is a 2D array, 2-dimensional array. So if you want to access this blank, then you use 1 in this index, index 0 in this place, and just leave it. Don't use it when you are using it, right? So it is classroom X. So this is not X, this should be sheets. Okay, let me change it. So you can access third sheet. Similarly, you can also call the function. If you want to use the same function, same names from another namespace, then you need to do accordingly. Change the classroom to dormitory and so on. Right? This is the way you want to define the namespace, put the things inside it, and you can access the data from it. Now I want to bring your attention to this thing here. This thing I have placed before this cout and ENDL. These are the things that are actually defined in the library. They come from this library IO stream. Inside the library we have a namespace std, something like this. And inside this namespace these objects are defined, cout and ENDL defined. Therefore to access these things we need to put this prefix name of the namespace followed by scope resolution operator, right? If I don't put this scope resolution, this program will not cannot determine from where this object is coming, and it is complaining already. So std is a namespace in the library. Now if I want to access the content of the namespace without bothering about putting this prefix, in that case there are two ways we can do that. You need to make those things you want to access available in the program. There are two ways to make it available. One way is using declaration, and another one is using directive, right? So if I want to use this X, classroom X, without using this prefix, I can use using declaration like this, using and then namespace name. So if I put this line here, then I am actually exposing X from classroom to this program, so you are able to use it without problem. Similarly, if I want to use the seats without the prefix, then I can have using declaration for sheets as well. And also I can have using declaration for cook. Right. So these are called using declaration, and so using declaration allows you to pick one or only desired component, desired items from the namespace and make it available in the program. But if, for example, if you want to access everything in the namespace, or if you want your program to be able to access all the things in the namespace, then you can use using directive. The way of having using directive is using namespace classroom. If you have this directive, then you don't need this declarations. Everything is actually exposed, or everything is made available, and you can use this these things here. Similarly, if you want to use cout, then you can use using declaration. If you have this using declaration for cout, then you don't need to put this prefix in this place. But you need to put prefix in this place. NL is not exposed, and for NL either you have another declaration for NL, or you can use using directive. This will allow everything in the std namespace to be available for this code to use. So now I don't need to have the prefix here. Let me quickly jump into the terminal and try to execute this code to make sure that everything is okay. So we have compilation, execution, and compilation and linking and execution here. So now you can see this X value is displayed, and the sheets blank lined displayed, and the cook, the process, the steps that are involved in cooking a code into the executable file is displayed through the invocation of this statements x value, sit 1, sit 3, and then cook. This is all I wanted to discuss on this topic. Thank you.